So let's get into it. So there are a couple of things people were DMing me to check out. Let me see if I can find this. Diablo 4 developers play. That sounds like it. I'm tempted to go ahead and watch Asmongold's take on it, but let's at least start with just the original.
Emotes? I can taunt you.
There are so many ways I...
Hang on. Did we just start out by finding out they didn't know about emotes? Hang on.
Do we have any emotes? I can taunt you.
There are so many ways I can kill you.
That will be your last stupid mistake.
Oh my God. This is mega cringe.
Hi, I'm Deanie. I am a senior dungeon designer on Diablo 4.
Howdy, I'm Josie, an associate designer on Diablo 4. What are we playing today, Deanie?
So today, I wanted us to play Belfry Zakara, because it is pretty cool. Belfry Zakara is a dungeon that you find on the coast of Hawazar. It's pretty cool, because it's the only dungeon that is got the kind of like Zac architecture going on, mixed with the lovely drowned themes all over the place. So it makes it like super unique and a super cool place to visit. The tile sets are basically the look of like they're all the different like look.
Okay, guys, we have to notice right off the bat that these guys are playing with level 50 characters, which obviously they didn't level up, right? These are just dev character builds, but these are level 50s. And they're on World Tier 1. This is... And somehow... I didn't even pay attention and notice, but somehow whoever we're watching... in terms of the UI... They've definitely already used a potion. Which is wild. And definitely upsetting. And then... They're definitely also playing with controller, right? So that explains why so many PC players are correctly upset, because as I think Asmongold had previously pointed out, right, like devs aren't playing with PCs with keyboard and mouse. And I think Rod said he plays with controller too. So, and to be fair, having a PS5, I played Diablo 4 on PS5. Although I feel like I probably should be playing it on PC now that I have a Starforge, but I'm not willing to spend money on it again, obviously, because it's just junk.
Looks of the dungeons that we have in the game, you know, your standard caves or your crypts, or in this case, these are like Cathedral of Light themed or Zakharum themed. Our dungeon artists have this really cool thing they can do where they can add themes to stuff to
All right. People trying to get me to
make it
pay for them
stand out. So we've got like gore if we want like body parts and stuff like that, or like spider webs, things like that. This one, however, happened to get a drowned theme, and it is the only dungeon of its type in terms of art.
I think that actually the drowned matched very well with the Belfry Zakara theme, just due to the fact that what we'll find later is there are bells going on in the dungeon, and so everybody knows that there are drowned bells, and for them to be in a church with the church bells, it fits very well.
Are you telling me there are bells in this belfry, Zakara?
Yes.
All right, Josie, tell me, what do you do?
So it's a little bit of level design with procedural creation with the tiles, as mentioned previously. And then other times we're working with encounters or like adding little goodies on where to spawn shrines, as we currently see. And every now and then there will also be cursed shrines, and that's a fantastic event Deanie actually created.
I had help.
Well, I mean, everybody has help. It's a collaborative job. People will create an initial dungeon, and then another dungeon designer will come.
So these aren't gameplay devs; these are art developers. So I guess that's a thing. What was the idea here at Blizzard? I'm very confused because they suck ass at the game. Like, that's very apparent already. I mean, the person we're watching now, I didn't even notice again. I mean, I've noticed how sucky they are, but they're down to 5 potions, and this is like such a basic ass dungeon. And again, you're on world tier 1 at level 50. This should be like blindfolded button mashing. You should make your way through this without dying. So what is happening? And like, I understand you're on the art team, both of you, it sounds like. So although then again it says, you know, the one made the cursed shrine event, so there's some mechanic, you know, like development going on. I don't know, I'm really confused. It seems like you guys just didn't play your game. That's what I'm getting thus far, is it seems like you didn't play your game. It's very pretty. It seems like you're very, you know, blown away with yourselves about how pretty the game is, which I've said many times. I think the game is very, very pretty, and the gameplay animations are very clean and things like that, except the CCs and stuff, like the colorations could be more distinct, especially because it just gets, when you have lots of stuff going on, you just can't keep track of what's going on. But other than that, anyways, you know, like overall the art was pretty killer and the campaign was killer, voice acting good, but the event stuff, I wouldn't take credit for that. I'm just so confused why Blizzard, if you're gonna do like developer gameplay showcase, why wouldn't you, especially knowing how hardcore of an audience you have and knowing like Asmongold's gonna watch it and rip your shit up, why in the world would you not have some people that are really cracked at the game? Do you not have anybody who's cracked at the game? Because that's my next question, is like, if this is what you're putting in front of the camera, how shitty are people like Rod and the two Joes, Adam? Like, how shitty are these people at this game? Because this is pretty fucking mind-blowing. Like, yeah, I don't even know how to describe this. They're definitely, I there's no way one of them doesn't die before the end of this.
Come in and then wind up basically giving both critique, and then also we'll make it better from there, and they'll understand, hey, this was like the core of the original idea, and keep that, and then we'll modify it to fit standards for the rest of the game on making sure, like, hey, killing.
So if you read between the lines what she just said, which again, I don't understand. This is a weird thing that in the last 2 like releases of what Blizzard has put out for this game in terms of like PR stuff, the last one I saw was the stream where they added the second Adam, which that guy who is the lead class designer or whatever, they seriously threw him to the wolves. They were basically like, oh, we had the stream where the 3 of us came out looking like we wanted to kill ourselves, and now, you know, let's come back and discuss this game and how much we're going to change it and everything. And they came out kind of like the 3 guys who were before so downtrodden, a little more positive. And one of the Joes, the bearded one, he like even kind of was like really I would say at the beginning of the video, there's the times when he tried to like make it humorous and stuff, but like at the beginning of the video, especially when this new Adam guy was talking and trying to present his thing, he was kind of antagonistic, almost like he was trying to like take the side of the audience to try and like get on the audience's side of like being mad of like, you know, what are you guys doing over there? And it just, I mean, it felt so awful and so cringe. It's like, you guys just can't take responsibility for your shittiness. So then you're throwing this guy out to the wolves, and he's like semi-excited because he's like getting his chance to be in the spotlight. Doesn't know that he's about to get just shit on so hard. And these three guys totally fucking know it. And they just basically let him lead the charge. Then fast forward to now what we're watching, right? And these motherfuckers are just basically doing the same thing again. I just don't get it. But like these two girls now who, let's face it, this is the internet. So I can already see the comments that are going to be, you know, all sorts of bullshit about their fucking looks and them being women, and just throw all that shit out. Like, fuck that nonsense and fuck that stupidity. Like, there are so many, you know, good female gamers and so many, it has nothing to do with it, right? But what a fucking, I don't, is it a misstep? Is it, it feels like it's more stupid than could be possible for a misstep. Like, to just put these two women out in front of this, like in this way, having so little preparation, you know, being so shit at the game. Like, they should be able to be playing the shit on like low level, that at World Tier 3, you know, level 50, they should be able to just be cracking this no problem. If you're gonna put them out and do like a gameplay showcase like this, that's what you want. Like even PoE 2, right? You saw they did a live gameplay showcase. Guy dies to the fucking boss and immediately comes back in and just gets his shit right back in there and fucking takes care of business. Like, that's what you want to see, because that's somebody who understands how, you know, involved the game is and the various mechanics and, you know, and what it looks like, what it feels like, how to navigate it. They don't. They know what it looks like. They have a lot of commentary about the aesthetics of the game, about the architecture influences, and, you know, the theming and all this different stuff and how it ties together, which is really great. And I think the art was a high point of the game. There's no doubt about it. It is a high point of the game, right? But the game itself doesn't feel good, right? And that's the thing, is like, okay, you had over 9,000 people work on this game, right? It's the record, is like record amount of credited people is like 9,100, and you delivered still something that is like basically, and a lot of the functionality means it still appears to be an alpha. Like, you delivered a great campaign, you delivered a great voiceover and art and everything for that. But the problem is, you're an ARPG, and the majority of the gameplay that your audience is looking for is endgame. And it's so wildly underdeveloped. Like, so wildly underdeveloped. Come here, baby. It's so wildly underdeveloped, it just seems like you weren't paying attention or weren't thinking about it clearly. And you definitely weren't looking at other games that were in the game space, like Path of Exile, and coming up with equivalents. You know, like, where is, with 120 dungeons and all this shit, like, where is the equivalent to mapping and an atlas or something like that? Where is the equivalent? I mean, I'm not saying you have to have one-to-one for everything, because I mean, right, PoE developed those things over 12 years or 11 years or whatever, but you have to have some of it at launch, you know? Like, that's the idea of pushing these things forward, right? And the other thing is, like, you hear, you know, even though it's not your same genre or anything, when you hear the Path of Exile launch and you hear Grinding Gear Games talking about influences and why there's 100 bosses in PoE 2, it's because of Elden Ring. Like, they were paying attention. People love bosses and love interesting bosses with unique mechanics, and Elden Ring was smart about, even when they like reused a boss like that From Software, they reused that cat that was in a lot of those dungeons, but they would give them different weapons, and that would slightly change their mechanics. Like their overall style would be very similar and their style of movement would be similar, but their attack schemes would be slightly changed. So it developed the puzzle a little bit more. And nuanced plays like that just don't exist in Diablo 4. And so you have this deeply compartmentalized situation where you have two people like this who clearly can talk at depth about like, oh, there were these architectural influences that we had, and this was the theming decision based on we had this type of enemy that we knew was going to occupy the dungeon, and so that's why you see this coral and this this kind of nautical growths and all this stuff here. This is very purposeful, and like they can talk, you can clearly hear they can talk about their part of the game for days, right? And they can absolutely make great points about it. That's not a question, and they did a great job with that. But you've clearly lost sight overall as the individuals in this company of what the big picture is, of what you're trying to develop, which should have been like the next big thing in ARPGs. You should have been trying to take back the crown that you lost to grinding your games with Path of Exile. Like, you guys fumbled hard with Diablo 3 compared to Diablo 2. And you were the makers of the genre with Diablo 1. Why would you not be trying so hard as you can, to take back the crown? It's in so many ways just very sad. Just like the fact that like these girls are gonna get, these women I should say, are gonna get absolutely ripped on the internet with commentary that is going to be so negative and so shitty and so diabolical in so many ways, and largely have nothing to do with the gameplay before it even starts, and nobody at Blizzard clearly thought about that. So great job again as an employer to women, Blizzard.
All these monsters in this area is too large, so let's actually shrink it a bit. We still gotta go find another bell.
Yeah, we do a lot of play tests. So when someone has a dungeon ready, they'll be like, "Hey."
What are a lot of play tests? Because, and what do those play tests look? You guys suck. Like, this is ridiculous. You don't play this game. I don't believe that for a second. That's somebody wrote that in the script. I don't believe that you do a lot of play tests. Or maybe what you think of as a lot is very different from what other companies do, because it's rough.
Can people playtest my dungeon? And we actually have standing meetings specifically for like when someone has something that they want to have playtested, and we'll all get together and like playtest it, and then we have a board where we keep like feedback and stuff like that, so people can have like notes or whatever, and we'll talk about like what was good, what was bad, like what kind, like when we'd offer like suggestions on like things that could change or things that could improve it, stuff like that. We try to involve as many people as possible, and then like Josie said, usually at some point we tend to like swap designers on dungeons, because collaboration is very important, and it also makes sure that like if there's like bugs in the dungeon later, pretty much anyone can solve the bug because everyone is familiar with all the dungeons.
Exactly.
So it makes the process go a lot smoother. Oh, Conduit Shrine.
Oh, this is one of my favorite shrines. I love just hopping around. And there's a bell. Okay.
Smash it. Smash it. Oh, you did smash it. Well, fine. Smash it without me. See if I care. I think the biggest challenge for this one was actually more art, making it look good. But there were. I mean, some of.
That wasn't the bigger challenge, guys. You did a fine job with the art. The art was fine. It's the challenge was the gameplay, and it's still lacking. How do you deliver a game with no resistances? That's an ARPG, any kind of RPG. I mean, wild.
Some of it's also just like making sure it still like fits within like the area that it's in, and trying to find spots for those really big bells. Like we had to make sure that like those fit. And making sure that usually our biggest challenges are trying to like reduce like backtracking as much as possible.
Yep.
Because I know it's the biggest headache that everyone has. So we're always looking for ways to improve that kind of stuff.
So Beanie, how did you wind up going into game design?
Oh gosh, that's a long and storied question. I actually kind of always wanted to be a game designer.
What a pointless question.
Like, it's been kind of my dream
So
since the days of Nintendo. You know, back in like the 80s. You know, game design was kind of a, like, you had to know someone kind of thing.
That kind of a question is for when your game is in a state like Baldur's Gate 3 is in right now, where everyone is just super stoked on it and just loving you to death, you know. Then it's fun, get to know devs time. At this state, like, come on, guys, just like at least be talking about the game.
I ended up giving up on that initially and went to school for architecture instead. Got through most of an architecture degree, realized this is really not what I wanted to do, and then game design programs started popping up all over the place. So I hopped into one of those. I have died.
Hold on, let me see if I can go get you.
Then, yeah. So then I went to a school for game design and learned the basics that I needed to know. Got myself an internship somewhere, and then the rest is history.
Nice.
So how about you, Josie? How did you decide that this was the thing that you wanted to do? Make dungeons full of monsters?
I don't know if Deanie's ever
funnily
played an
enough,
RPG.
I actually also went to a college of architecture, but underneath there, they actually had a visualization program, which included game design, because long story short, gaming software actually evolved from architecture software with like 3D rendering and whatnot. And so there, under their game design program, I was able to pick up a part-time job as a game designer, initially thinking I wanted to be an artist. But over time, I just fell in love with being able to design things and like putting things together and player interaction, really focusing on like experiences and making levels and environments that people have fun in. I feel so
making games and levels that people have fun in. Okay, well, a big part of that, right, a big part of customer experience in general is listening to your customer base response. And you guys have shown none of that. So, like, for instance, the Resistance's problem should have been fixed upon release. It's going to take until season 2. Season 1 was garbage. I didn't even play it for like, I don't know, 3 days or something. I got so bored of it, I just couldn't keep going. So we think about season 2. When's that coming? Sometime mid-October? Okay, so maybe you have Resistances fixed, or maybe you have a new excuse then. Still don't even have leaderboards at that point. And what is the time? Why is it taking so long to implement these things? And then you come up with an explanation like for the whole stash issue that is basically coming out and telling the world that like, oh, we copy pasted from Diablo 3 and we didn't actually take time to revisit this and make sure that what we were developing and what we were providing to you as our customers was state of the art for the industry. You didn't even do that, you know? Also, it just doesn't feel like you looked at PoE at all. It doesn't feel like you looked at PoE at all. And what's wild about watching like the PoE 2 showcase is like I could have never predicted all the things that GGG decided to put into that game, especially like dodge rolling. You know, that was a very Elden Ring move of them. And I think that's going to be really cool. I heard a lot of people with mixed opinions on that. To me, you know, now it also like is Flame Dash gone and that kind of stuff. That's, you know, I haven't looked more into that, but like if Flame Dash and that stuff is gone, that could kind of suck. But I still think dodge rolling is a really cool mechanic. Having iframes, having, you know, that kind of like Souls playability in an ARPG could be a game changer. And taking a risk like that is really cool. Fundamentally, it is a risk. Absolutely. That's why you see there's people who are polarized on it, who are like, oh, this is going to be shitty. This is going to be whatever. But like, I think taking those risks, that's how you push the envelope. That's how you make games better. That's how you ultimately deliver experiences that gamers go, you know, oh my God, I never even imagined this. And that's really what keeps them coming back for more to your studio, right? Like that's why Diablo and Diablo 2 are all-time greats. So why then do you come with this game and it feels like you didn't look at any of the last generation major developments over your own game? Right? Like, it looks like you just looked at Diablo 3 and were like, okay, well, how do we improve on this game? And you looked at it in that very stagnant framework where you never looked outside of Diablo. And you were just like, well, Diablo 3 was this, so Diablo 4 should be, you know, this way. In a lot of ways, okay, yeah, if that's the metric we're looking at, this game is a lot better than Diablo 3. Diablo 3 was garbage, you know? So, like, I don't... What's the point there, you know? Good for you, I guess. The point should have been to beat Path of Exile, and there really seems like for me the big thing is Diablo 4, like everybody said, is so much slower, right? And a big part of that is like where's the kind of equivalency to movement spells, right? There's no equivalency to that. You can only cast 5 spells, including your ultimate, which really sucks. It's so much more limited. Like, even on controller playing Path of Exile, which I'm sure a lot of people would rip me up for, but like playing Path of Exile on a controller is way better because they still figured out a way with 2-button accessing to make it so that you had access to 12 spells. So and it was really easy to organize, really easy to play like that, really comfortable gameplay. Again, it just seems like you didn't look at that, you know? And then your stash situation, you know, ultimately being that everyone's loading everyone's stash and all their inventory. That is the most asinine and ridiculous idea. And how somebody didn't, you know, catch that. It literally does sound like something where you copied and pasted it and then you're admitting it because you're being transparent. But like, the reality is that's something in due diligence that somebody should have looked at and gone, this is an excessive waste of memory. This is so stupid. Our performance, why are we wasting performance resources in this dumb area? And you didn't do that. Very confusing. You know, again, over 9,000 people worked on this game with probably a budget of over $250 million, right? Which, by the way, they've cleared like $1 billion in profit, or $1 billion in revenue. So they're going to have their profit margins be high enough that everyone in the executive world at Activision Blizzard is going to be really happy about the game. And there's no reason for them to be motivated to change any of this, by the way. That's the real shitty punchline. Other than like public backlash, which there's been a ton of, but monetarily and financially, there's no incentive. Yeah, I don't know. I'm ranting because this is so fucking wildly bad.
So, like, elated just due to the fact that being under NDA for so long, which granted, I haven't been on this project as long as Dini has, but being able to finally be able to tell friends, like, oh, hey, here's the game, go try it, and, like, tell me what you think, and being able to see everybody just so happy with it and taking critique and like responding to it as fast as we can. Just overall loving to hear people boast about it and getting to basically flaunt like, hey, this is what I've been working on for the past long while.
About the dungeons, it's about as far as I get. No, it's been pretty cool though. Like, it's they don't often get together to play games, so they've got like a Discord server going, so it's kind of cool like watching them all like go through and actually get together and like, you know, play the game together and stuff. So it's been kind of a mini.
I just haven't worked on. There's always content to go look forward to and playing too.
So we're at the Drowned Sea Hag. As you can see, she's quite the lady, and she loves making your life miserable.
Yeah, she leaves puddles on the ground that you have to make sure you don't step on or get pushed into by the waves rolling by. Like that.
She was actually the big boss of the BlizzCon demo back in, what was it, 2019 or whatever, when we announced the game.
Oh, really?
Yeah. She was what everyone fought. We had this like cool sequence with a cave that was like flooded and you had to like drain the water and you'd find her at the end or whatever. So
I only played like 250
she's one of
hours
many,
Diablo 4,
many
but
bosses that we have
it's
floating around. She is
like
also one
200
tough
more than
SOB.
either
I remember the
one.
vampire boss being also quite difficult as well.
Oh, bloodsucker. All right, can you stop and let me hit you, please?
We got her
Wow,
nearly
this is-
halfway. There we go.
That's good. I'm running out of. I'm running low on health potions. I gotta
You
get
have a
more.
level 50
I feel
rogue.
like I am average at games.
You're
I don't know.
so
It kind
much
of depends.
shittier
Like
than
one of the
average.
cool things about our dungeon group
So
is that
much
we all
shittier
kind of
than
have like
average.
different games that we like and different games that we're good at versus not good at.
Let me be 100% clear. You are so much shittier than average or casual player. So much shittier. It's not even close. Very, very low level. Like, I'm not confident that you could beat level 1 in Frogger. That's where I'm at. I'm not confident that you could ever get to not beat, but get to a Lord on Halls of Torment. I'm not confident you could clear a single Vampire Survivors level. There's zero chance that you wouldn't put down any Souls game within 5 minutes angrily and walk away. Yeah. Those all feel like truths at this point, because this is just level 50 Barb and Rogue. And this drowned Sea Hag, and it's a 49. Like, I mean, it's only one level difference, but still, like, you should be smashing things that are so much above your level, especially like on World Tier 1 difficulty level. Oh my god, it's this
Or
is
like,
happening.
you know, some of us are a little more casual, some of us are a little more hardcore, and it's kind of cool because then we can try and find this like balance between all of our stuff. To make sure that, you know, everyone is having a good time regardless of whatever their gaming preferences are. It's kind of a nice dynamic to
So they're
have,
trying to make
especially
it
when
so
you're
that
making
4-year-olds
content. If
can
everyone
play
has like
Diablo
the same
4?
temperament towards the games they like and how they like to play them, well, then everything ends up one note. But when you
So,
have designers with
that's,
different opinions, then you can you know,
Something
find the
you guys-
balance between what everyone likes, make the appropriate compromises, and then more people get to have fun with your stuff because you're trying to cover more of your audience. Yeah,
And we beat the boss!
I really want to make a fanfare, but it's the wrong genre. So,
How happy
do
is
we
the
have any
audience?
emotes?
We have...
I can say hello.
I can taunt you.
Oh, man.
There are so many ways I can kill you.
All right, fine.
This will be your last.
That will be your last stupid mistake.
Well, thank you, Deanie, so much for playing, and
Yes, thank you for playing with me. I know we do this on a daily basis, but this is a special occasion because we've got friends this time, and they got to
Exactly.
experience this with us. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for playing our game. We're loving all the positive feedback from it, and it helps keep.
There's first of all, if you're hearing positive feedback, somebody's lying to you. And in all honesty, you guys do seem nice, so I do hope they shield you from some of the internet backlash you're gonna get, including my own. But like, holy shit, you guys suck at gaming, and you should. I mean, just terrible at ARPGs. It is. If you do play the game every day like that, I am hoping that's a lie. At this point, I'm hoping that's a lie, because if you play the game every day and you're that shit at it, and you're just mashing the basic skill button all day long, I just don't even know what to say about that. I think Asteroids is more your level. You know? Start there. Brick. It's a good one. Tetris would be pushing it, I think. You know, if we're being honest. If we're being honest about it. You gotta have some quick reaction time. Yeah. No, I'm feeling like Pong, Asteroids. That's, you know, Brick. That's your domain. Because that is some of the most lousy ass garbage gameplay I've ever seen for any game ever. Let alone the fact that Blizzard decided to put you guys out here on the line, showing that this is you playing the game. This is you playing the game. Holy shit, guys! It's a rough fucking time. It's a rough fucking time, guys. All right, I gotta see what Asmon had to say just real quick, because
Blizzard posted a video of the Diablo 4 devs playing their game. If you wonder why the game has so many issues, this is probably the answer. I don't even want to watch this video. I'm gonna be honest. I don't even want to watch.
I do not blame him. He shouldn't. He shouldn't have done this. He did. We're gonna kind of skip around, but he shouldn't have done this.
This video. I'm just gonna
By
make
the way,
you sad.
notice
So
I did not say like and subscribe to the Diablo 4 dev thing, because yeah, awful. Obviously, like and subscribe to Asmon.
Diablo 4
You
released
probably
a game,
subscribe to Asmon,
or sorry, released a video
be
of the
honest.
developers playing the game. Do you remember what I said? If you were able to watch the developers play the game, it becomes very evident why the game has problems.
Do we have any emotes?
I can taunt you.
Taunt me.
There are so many
Here we go.
ways I can kill you.
That will be your last stupid mistake.
Oh, it just makes you cringe so much.
Hi, I'm Deanie. I am a senior dungeon designer on Diablo 4.
Howdy, I'm Josie, a associate designer on Diablo 4. What are we
Let's
playing
get
today,
to it.
Deanie?
So today, I wanted us to play Belfry Zakara, because it is pretty cool. Belfry Zakara.
With controllers. There it is.
Yeah, of course,
And
that's his first comment.
Rod also says that he plays with a controller.
Yep.
And this is why, for example, controllers have auto-targeting for corpses as a necromancer with corpse explosion and raised skeleton,
That sucks.
but we don't have that on the keyboard and mouse.
Sucks hard.
Why
for
is
keyboard
that?
and mouse players.
It's because they don't play with a fucking
Yep.
keyboard and mouse. So they don't
And they
see
should
how it's
definitely have
annoying.
People playing both
Place,
ways.
so it makes it like super unique and a super cool place to visit. The tile sets are
I don't think they
basically
have a dedicated
the look
playtest team.
of like they're all the different like looks of the dungeons that we have in the game. You know, your standard caves or your crypts, or in this case, these are
Like,
like Cathedral of Light.
they should literally have people playing this game 8 hours a day, and then, well, not 8 hours, probably like 6 hours a day, and then just communicating with devs for, you know, like writing summaries and things to send to devs for an hour, and then like having meetings with dev groups for an hour, especially at their size, you know, 9,000 people. Like, but you like, they have to be having people who are playing extensive hours, communicating all the hang-ups and everything, and I don't see it.
Themed or Zakarum themed. Our dungeon artists have this really cool thing they can do where they can add themes to stuff to make it stand out. So we've
cool.
got like gore if we want like body parts and stuff like.
So for example, the ones that spawn oppressors only spawn waves of 3 or 4 mobs, but the ones that spawn the fallen spawn like 10 mobs at a time, and then they also spawn the larger NPCs and the shamans. So like there's like a huge like difference. Like you're either fighting like 3 mobs or 4 mobs or like 15.
I just realized I'm covering Asmon's face.
An initial dungeon, and then another dungeon designer will come in and then wind up
What?
and then another dungeon designer will, well, I mean, everybody has help. It's a collaborative job. People will create an initial dungeon, and then another dungeon designer will come in and then wind up basically giving both critique, and then also will make it better from
he
there.
seems very
And
confused.
they'll understand, hey, this was like the core of the original idea, and keep that, and then we'll modify it to fit standards for the rest of the game, on making sure, like, hey, killing all these monsters in this area is too large, so let's actually shrink it a bit.
Did that guy have the day off? Whenever
Did that guy have the day
that part of
off?
the job
Yeah.
came around, did he
Yeah.
have the day off?
Yeah, he did.
I think he did.
Yep.
The year off.
It's true. The year off. Yeah.
So, there's a big concern that I have. Whenever you have design by committee,
Yeah.
and you have multiple people that are designing this dungeon in like a...
So he's gonna say what I said too, which is like basically that these people, I'm betting, I could be wrong, but these people got lost in the weeds and nobody really knew what the overall game goal was and what the overall picture was. They lost sight of the big goal of Diablo 4, right? Which should have been, again, to take the crown back from GGG. Like, and since that wasn't an overarching goal and there wasn't this like singular guiding light, North Star that they had or whatever, you know, they needed some true north, and they didn't have that. It's just clear that there were a lot of people going in a lot of different directions, a lot of them doing interesting things, and doing, you know, good things in terms of art and stuff, you know, but it just didn't cohesively come together into something that plays well.
It's like in a disconnected way.
Yep.
Like how does that make sense?
We still gotta go find another bell.
Yeah, we do a lot of play tests. So when someone has a dungeon ready, they'll be like, "Hey,
I just so don't believe it.
can people play test my dungeon?" And we actually have standing meetings specifically for like when someone has something that they want to have play tested, and we'll all get together and like play test it, and then we have a board where we keep like feedback and stuff like that. So you know, people can have like notes or whatever, and we'll talk about like what was good, what was bad, like what kind, like when we'd offer like suggestions on like things that could change or things that could improve it, stuff like that. We try to involve as many people as possible. And then like Josie said, usually at some point we tend to like swap designers on dungeons because collaboration is very important, and it also makes sure that
I mean, I'm gonna be honest. Like, she's not even using the main abilities.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. No,
like,
exactly.
How do you work on a game?
He sees that,
and you don't use the abilities that the game gives you.
Yeah. Thank you.
How is this like? Why would you do this?
Who the fuck knows?
like, you know, if there's like bugs in the dungeon later, pretty much anyone can solve a bug because everyone is familiar with all the dungeons.
Exactly.
So it makes the process go a lot smoother. Oh, conduit shrine.
Oh, this is one of my favorite shrines.
I mean,
I love
are you
hopping around.
familiar
And
with
there's
the
a bell.
I think you're familiar with like the aesthetics of the dungeons, but you're clearly not familiar with like the mechanics of any of these
Smash it
enemies.
without me. See if I care. I think
That's
that I
wild.
mean the biggest challenge for this one was actually more art, making it look good.
I mean, the truth is, the people that did the art for Diablo 4 are geniuses.
Yeah.
I think the art for the game is incredible. The game looks
Although,
amazing.
I think PoE
The worlds look great.
Shockingly,
like the
better.
different zones have like their own aesthetic.
I was not expecting.
And the
that
only
from
criticism
PoE2.
I have is there's not more of it. Like I like the, you know, Rembrandt fucking like Renaissance painting aesthetic.
We gotta skip.
Like, look at all this. Like, it's just absolutely insane.
Yep. I haven't even looked
People
at
are
this. Is
just
this
totally
Reddit?
shitting on them.
Oh, no,
and
it's
like, the thing
comments
is,
on YouTube.
like,
Yeah, I
these
didn't
people
even-
are not public figures. They're not
No.
content creators.
Oh yeah, he's making
Like,
the
they're
point,
not
too.
used to being, like, you know, in front of a big audience. And so
Nope.
this happens. You
Super
release
shit
a
move by
video
Blizzard.
publicly. And then, like, this is, like, kind of one of the reasons why I didn't even really want to watch the video that much. Is that, like, I almost feel bad just for watching it because I think that it makes them look bad.
Yep.
You know what I mean? They're throwing them under the bus. Yeah.
Yeah, of course they are.
It just it sucks. I don't know why Blizzard does this. Bro, I don't give a fuck about what they feel. I want a good game and I give them money. I don't think
Yep.
that you should, like, these are two things that are separate, right? I'm criticizing the way that they did this, I'm not saying that every criticism that you have with the game is no less valid.
Absolutely.
But like whenever you put two people
Both
in
can be
front of
true.
the game, right? Like at level 50, you should be in world tier 2 or 3.
Easily.
Like, what are you doing in world tier 1? Number 1. Like, they don't have an elixir on. It's like, these are
Yep.
obviously probably just like pre-made characters. And again, like, you can logically say that, well, you know, these are people, it's like not their job to do this. Like, I personally think, like, if you work on a video game and you have enough of a role to be on camera and represent the company, you should know how to play that fucking video game. You remember whenever Final
Absolutely.
Fantasy 16 guy came on and just completely destroyed that boss? He's like,
shouldn't
pass over
even
the
be a
controller, little bro, I'll
conversation.
take care of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fucking awesome, wasn't it?
That should be how
Do you remember in
things
Path
go.
of Exile, whenever that guy sat
Yep.
down and he 1v1 the boss and he died and he came back and he beat it?
Yep.
Yeah, that was fucking awesome. But
So
you
it
have
should
people
be.
that don't
Just
understand
like
the game.
how do you're building
And
the game?
they're
How do
making
you
a
not- How
video.
are you not cracked at it?
And it's like, how do you not edit this video and think to yourself, what will the community response for this video be?
Exactly. And this is an edited video. It's not like the PoE 2 where that shit was live. That shit was live. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know,
Like,
the PoE 2 video. Yeah, and also the PoE 2 thing and Final Fantasy 16 thing were live.
Oh, so
This was pre-recorded.
exact fucking point.
So, like, I mean, shit. Like, for all we know, these controllers could be unplugged. And it's, like, actually two other people that are playing it. Like, we have no real idea.
And then,
If that were the case, it would be.
yeah, so then
fucking
I went to a
nuts.
school for game design and learned the basics that I needed to know. Got myself an internship somewhere, and then the rest is history.
Nice.
So how about you, Josie? How did you decide that this was the thing that you wanted to do? Make dungeons full of monsters?
Funnily enough, I actually also went to a college of architecture, but underneath there, they actually had
Not trying to be a dick, but funnily enough, is that like it's shaped like a funnel enough? Did she? Oh, she meant funny enough. Oh, as in with enough humor. Okay, I wasn't familiar with the word funnily.
a visualization program, which included game design, because long story short, gaming software actually evolved from architecture software with like 3D rendering and whatnot. And so there, under their game design program, I was able to pick up a part-time job as a game designer, initially thinking I wanted to be an artist.
Spam basic,
But over
spam
time,
basic.
I just fell in
That's a
love
good
with
way
being able
play
to
Barb.
design things and like
yeah,
putting
that
things
is true.
together and player interaction.
Talking about AutoCAD, yeah, my uncle's an architect. Like he's been doing this shit for like 15 years.
Really focusing on
Like, I talked to him about, like,
experiences
Unreal
and
5 and
making
shit.
levels and environments that people have
In, like,
fun
a
with.
completely different way.
I feel so like elated just due to the fact that being under NDA for so long, which granted I haven't been on this project as long as Dini has, but being able to finally be able to tell friends like, oh hey, here's the game, go try it, and like tell me what you think, and being able to see everybody just so happy with it and taking critique and like responding to it as fast as we can. Just overall loving to hear people boast about it and getting to basically flaunt like, hey, this is what I've been working on
Just
for
like
the past
a delusional
long
take.
while.
My wife.
I mean, if all they're doing is the art, if all they're doing is the art,
Delusional.
then
take.
I think they're doing a great job. Like,
Yeah.
that's their job. That's
They should
fine.
still be able to play the
whatever.
game.
Who gives a fuck?
Especially if they're on.
But
fucking
why would you
camera.
have people that are just artists playing the game if it looks like they don't know how to play the game?
Yep, that's a great question too.
Like, really, it just looks bad.
Looks awful. It's just again,
I
it's throwing
just
two people
and,
to
and
the
I think
wolves.
it looks bad at their expense.
It's like I feel like this
I
is just a
I feel like this
deflection
is
from
such a.
the Joes and Adam.
It's the same thing that
you know,
Twitch
in
did.
A way.
Remember whenever Twitch did like that girl that thought she was like a deer or some shit, and they put
No, I
they
don't
put her
remember
up
that, but I
and
believe it.
everybody started shitting on her ferociously, Steph, or something like that. And like I really thought that was a huge Twitch L, because like this is a person with like a very, very small, like 10 to 20 viewer audience, and you put this person in front of literally a million people.
Yeah,
And like somebody at Twitch should know what kind of response they're gonna get.
yeah.
And I just think it's so inconsiderate to do
Absolutely.
that. It's naive. It's irresponsible. I think, yeah, that's a better word. It's irresponsible to do that.
Family is
I would
huge
say you could argue it's
on
naive
Diablo,
and
so it's been a lot of them
irresponsible.
like asking me like where everything is and like
They need to ask her
where all
the
the
debuff
stuff
limit
is hiding,
And
which
it's
I'm
not
like, well, I can tell you about the
necessarily
dungeons.
naive. Like, you should
About
know.
as
Yeah.
far as I get. No, it's been pretty cool though. Like it's they
I want to talk
How
about
would
that
Adam
comment
Fletcher
a little
not
bit
know?
because I saw some people talking about this in the subreddit, and I actually agree with it. I think that it seems like Blizzard's game design philosophy and their game design structure is so fragmented
Yep.
that there's no cohesion and understanding of the greater whole. Like everybody
we've
is
all
so
come to that
disconnected, it
conclusion.
feels, from what they're doing versus what the game is as a whole, that things are added into the game and designed that are not congruent with what the game actually is collectively. So you have all of these small pieces and everybody makes their own puzzle piece, but nobody tries to make sure the puzzle pieces fit together.
Yep.
That's what I think happens.
Yeah,
So it's like
exactly.
you have something get added into the game and it's like, yeah, this works in this circumstance, but because people are so isolated, it seems like whenever these things get added, it's like, well, what about how it's going to affect this or that? Yeah, those barricades. Yeah, exactly.
kinda wanna see
I don't
them wrap it up.
understand like what they were thinking by putting two people in front of like a massive audience, publishing
Man,
a video
there's-
on their main
oof,
channel.
Oof, it's no excuse.
Like, how
for
did
it.
nobody
It's
see
just-
this?
This is just
Because if
so
nobody, like,
awful.
whoever approved this idea, that person needs a huge they need to go through like
internet
fucking
retraining.
internet training. You know, you need to explain to they're completely out of touch.
Fucking joking.
I can't imagine like this is so like all this does is it confirms a lot of people's concerns about the game.
Oh my
That the
God.
developers don't like because they don't have a proper build. Like, yeah, you could say they're talking and it's like whatever, but like that's not really gonna come across. And that's what I'm saying, right? Is like I've streamed video games. I understand like being on autopilot, talking and playing a game.
Of course.
But I also understand whenever you're putting something out for an audience, what that audience is going to respond with. It's out of touch.
at a
And I
certain
think
point.
not only is it out of touch and but I think it's also irresponsible, as people said, is that like you put these two people here and you put them in front of a huge audience and you say everything negative that you thought about the game or like the way that the design is, it's true. And here's your proof. You see kind of how this is a problem? Expecting artists to be good at playing games is like expecting testers to be good at art. I'm going to have a really hot take here. I think that if you're in a senior position for a video game, you should know how to play it proficiently.
100%. How's that a hot take?
That's right.
That should just be expected. That should be the most basic
Yes,
shit. Most basic shit.
absolutely. It's outrageous.
Yeah.
If you can't play a game proficiently, how can you design a level for a game?
No way.
Because you don't know how people play the game because
Yeah.
you're not doing it.
I mean, you can't. You probably can,
Think about
but
it.
you're not going to do it optimally.
So
Let's
we
say it
have
that
all
way.
these problems with like running back in dungeons,
Mm-hmm.
the dungeons looking the same. And then we see people that make the dungeons that are playing in World Tier 1 at level 50.
Yep.
Oh. Do you think
Yeah, like, look
Miyazaki
at
plays
this.
his own
It's
games?
It's awful, dude. Miyazaki.
Yeah, I bet he could probably. I bet.
Let me be clear on something. I would bet Miyazaki can not only play his games, but is cracked at them. I would bet Miyazaki can absolutely fuck up any boss, any Souls game. Especially because that's like his baby, you know, in a lot of ways. So I think Miyazaki, it's like the same thing with like asking, can Kojima beat Metal Gear Solid or Death Stranding? Yeah, with zero difficulty, because ultimately there's such a cohesion from those lead designers' brain child idea, you know, their idea that they have, through everyone in that studio to what becomes ultimately the finished product. And that's why those games have been so incredible. That's why I think without a doubt you can pretty much say that the two best designers in the world right now, video game designers, are, you know, Kojima and Miyazaki. I mean, prove me wrong, but I think, you know, and now I should know the game, the name. I know Vink's name from Larian, but like, I mean, those guys should be in, Larian should be in the discussion. Although I think it's hard to make an argument that that's like a lead designer type of a thing. That's much more of a cohesive, very impressive team effort, because so much of that is narrative led, and the writing there has to lead the way, but also has to be woven very delicately so that there can be these decision trees, right? And that's extremely difficult writing wise to balance and make sure things are still cohesive and sticking together, and requires a lot of communication between different people. Then you have the voice acting side of that, so there's a lot of things that came together in terms of Baldur's Gate 3 and Larian to make it what it is. That's much less of like a single vision coming to life and a you know, a wonderful team effort, which, you know, an incredible group of 400 people. And it also, again, there shows you, like, right, there's an incredible group of 400 people delivered what is now rated the highest Metacritic, and I forget, there was another critic site, I forget, that there's Baldur's Gate 3 is the highest rated PC game of all time for them now. It's number 2 as a turn-based classical RPG to, you know, Counter-Strike Global Offensive on Steam last time I checked. So, you know, who could have predicted that? That's passion, and that's what passion can do for a project. It's the same way Elden Ring hit the community, right? So, yeah.
I bet Miyazaki could probably beat Dark Souls.
Yeah,
I bet he probably could. I got a good feeling about it.
Yeah.
Didn't they try to say they were only the artists? I might have missed third.
So
well, that's what I'm saying, right? Is like, even so, like, what is the logic? Again, I want to explain this, right? What is the logic behind bringing people
Vic
on that are artists for the game to play the game? And this is what I was saying about messaging, is that you can logically, I think that you, like, I can forgive. I don't think it's that big of a deal, right? It's not like this is the end of the world. But I do think that it is problematic.
Yeah.
That you have you have people that are representing the company, because not everybody is going to be like, oh, well, they're artists, so it's okay if.
Yeah.
So pretty much everybody on the Diablo subreddit is not happy about this.
Yeah, of course.
And by everybody, I mean this has 2.4 thousand comments. I'd expect game developers to be good at games, period. If they're not playing their own game, I'd expect them to be playing other people's games. I'd expect them to be doing 100%. Both.
Yeah. Both,
and I think that many people that are game developers do both. It's almost like level design affects the gameplay. Yeah, exactly. Level designer takes on more specific responsibilities and develops architecture, special effects, and many other points, not the game itself. It's just mental gymnastics. It is.
So good.
Why are people running defense for a company that tried to put 2 people up there who had no understanding of how to play the game? Why is that? Why would you do that? Contrarian? Yeah, I guess so. Ignore and move on. True. Anyway, so people are not happy about that. They seriously recorded and edited this and thought it was a good idea to post it. can I appreciate their transparency at least? As I said, guys, remember, the more that they explained what's behind the curtain, the more you understand why there are problems.
It's gonna be shittier. Yeah.
There you go.
100%.
Honestly, not everybody plays video games.
100%. All right. Now the other thing was Legendary Drops had a video on Baldur's Gate 3, which is much more positive. So, I thought it came out today. Yeah, this is the one. PR agency says Baldur's Gate is not an example.
People just cannot stop from trying to downplay Baldur's Gate 3, and it blows my mind. It's just a good game. It's not an anomaly. It's not this special thing. It's not some crazy occasion. They try to act like it's this random event that's happened, like it's the lightning bolt that awoken Frankenstein. There's nothing special here. It's just a company that worked hard to make a good game that players enjoy, and that's it. The game is incredibly popular. It's already reached over 875,000 players on Steam, beating its record from last weekend.
Yeah, that's fucking
It's all over
wild.
the internet. People are sharing their stories of their different playthroughs, who they're romancing,
Second
all
weekend
kinds of
higher
different
than the
things.
first.
It's just a good game, and people are loving it. That's all it is.
Very true.
But the internet is what it is, and people can't help but leave things be as they are.
Okay.
So it's my job to rip them apart. In response to Destin Liguri's video about why many developers are panicked about Baldur's Gate 3 setting some expectations that AAA developers aren't all that excited about, Sean from Evolve PR retweeted saying, please,
Hang
put
on. Put some thought into it before you proclaim this is what AAA should be moving forward. 6 years of 400 plus people with insane funding due to the IP have given BG3 a big boost. It's truly unrealistic to express this on a regular basis. Wasn't this development cycle for Diablo 8 years? And they had 9,000 people, which is more than 20x. And I'm pretty positive that they would have had significantly more funding due to Activision Blizzard's financial standings, compared to Larian, who almost went bankrupt several times making this game. Truly unrealistic to expect this on. I mean, this basically seems like just a bitch cop out. Just being like, we don't want to work this hard and try and develop games this good for you, and feature and probably some underlying annoyance at feature complete and lack of microtransactions.
some thought into it before you proclaim this as what AAA should be moving forward. 6 years and 400 plus people with insane funding due to the IP have given Baldur's Gate 3 a big boost. It's truly unrealistic to expect this on a regular basis. This was quickly responded to by director of publishing at Larian Studios saying, "What funding?" Following up with his own tweets.
Leave it to Larian to just come through as just ultimate Giga Chads always, right? Like 2-word response, just absolutely clutch right there. Just comes in and just fucking that's just like dick on the table response. You know what I'm saying?
Saying, small detail, I believe it's publicly known that Wizards of the Coast didn't fund Baldur's Gate 3.
Duh.
We paid for the privilege of creating a...
How does... Who the fuck thinks IP works like that? Who in the fuck thinks that intellectual property actually works like that? Where I pay you to take my intellectual property and make a game with it? Are you out of your fucking mind? No, that's not at all how it works. You, as the game developer, have to pay for the privilege of being able to create the game with the IP. And it's a big deal to be able to get major IP, yes, and to be able to even get to the table to have a discussion about purchasing the licensing rights to IP, which you can't even technically purchase IP outright, right? You have to purchase licensing rights over periods of time. Like, that's how controlled it's so backwards to think that like Wizards of the Coast was coming out here paying. And also, if you know anything about this game and why there's been this 20-year hiatus between Baldur's Gate 2 and Baldur's Gate 3, it's because BioWare basically folded, gave up the IP, and Wizards decided correctly that they weren't going to be casual about handing over the IP to somebody, and they wanted to see that somebody could prove themselves. Larian approached Wizards for the IP back when they were making Divinity Original Sin, and at the time Larian thought that it was just too new of a studio and they were too afraid that they couldn't handle the project properly. But when they saw Divinity Original Sin 2 and they saw how impressive the I believe it was like the beta trailers and things like that and the beta performances, right? They then reached back out to Larian and said, hey, like, are you guys still ready to do this? Because we can talk. You guys look serious. So the idea that IP is something where Wizards of the Coast is like, oh, well, Larian, you're so wonderful. Here's a bunch of money to, go and make a Dungeons and Dragons game. That's just literally not understanding how intellectual property works in any industry, regardless of video gaming industry. This is one thing like I can speak very confidently on as a US patent holder, right? Like, intellectual property is some stuff that I've had to learn a lot about. Intellectual property, the way you make money from it is licensing, and if you're as long as you're correct and proper about getting your initial intellectual property protections, that's always going to be the way it is. You're going to own the IP and you're going to be able to, until it goes public domain, right? So this is such an ass backwards way of thinking, that the way that it was kind of pointed to by that Sean guy, that Wizards somehow is like, or that the IP is responsible for allowing them to do this. It's not true at all, right? The IP has nothing to do with it. Yes, I mean, you could maybe argue that like knowing Wizards of the Coast and knowing the great fan base that D&D has, like, okay, sure, but like, did Call of Duty not have that kind of a fan base? Does Assassin's Creed not have that? I mean, come on. AAA's have IP that has, arguably more value in that. Didn't Assassin's Creed made a fucking movie with Michael Fassbender? I mean, I guess Dungeons and Dragons now had that movie, but like, come on. This is just such a whack ass argument, and it shows how much AAA devs and AAA companies. He was a PR person too, this Sean guy, like that. How much they're flailing because they're afraid of having to actually compete with real creative people who are working hard in the game space. And, Grinding Gear Games, From Software, and Larian definitely deserve a shout out. And then I'm trying to think of, I'm going to look it up really quickly because it's worth it. Who developed Vampire Survivors? Luca Galante. Okay, I mean, just incredible. Absolutely. Absolutely incredible. What about Halls of Torment? So that was a single guy. Chasing Carrots. And Chasing Carrots did an absolutely incredible job. Those two games, if you haven't gone out and gotten them, spend $10, $5 each. Totally worth it. But this comment, good for Larian for standing up
game
for themselves.
With this IP. Now, there's a lot wrong with this, so I'm going to try to attack it
See
piece
what
by
he thinks
piece.
is wrong with it.
Now, I've covered in a previous video that when they made Divinity Original Sin, the first one, they almost went bankrupt, specifically because everything was done self-funded. The only thing they had was a Kickstarter, a couple of loans, and that was about it. Well, it's not that much different with Baldur's Gate 3. All they did was just reinvest what they made on Divinity Original Sin 1 and Divinity Original Sin 2, while also having the backup of everything that they made through selling 2.5 million copies during early access.
Yeah,
that's a lot of money. That's already $150-ish million or something right around there. I mean, obviously that's like before taxes and fees and Steam's stuff and all that, but you get what I'm saying. All of this was funded by themselves. This idea that because they got a Wizards of the Coast IP, that Wizards of the Coast was paying them to make the game is completely wrong, and that's not how this usually ever works.
No.
At least that's to my understanding. You have to pay for the rights to be able to use that
100%
intellectual property. You can't just have somebody give it to you and say, hey, we're going to pay your studio to make it. Now, that's different if that company is a publisher. But Larian Studios is self-published. Nobody's paying them to make the game other.
Yeah, it's different, but it's still like a publisher is not going to. First of all, a publisher is I mean, they're in the business of publishing content, right? So they're not licensing typically the IP, but they'll make sure that the proper licensing deals have been executed so that they're not publishing something that they're then liable for to be sued. But they're not going to do any of that licensing stuff. That's really unrelated. And what publishers are getting paid for is completely different than what licensing is for. So there's really two separate things.
Other than the player. I think it's really important to keep in mind how AA, single A, and even indie developers actually fund their projects. See, most of them are actually bootstrapped. These are small studios that are relying on personal savings and loans, or they're taking contributions from their friends and family just to be able to get their projects off the ground. Some of them are crowdfunded using like Kickstarter and things like that. Others are using publisher agreements where they're getting some AAA publisher to be able to pay them to make their game. Sometimes there's grants and competition. Certain countries and states even actually have programs set in place to try to develop game studios in their area. Other times there's angel investors and things like that. There's different ways that these games can get published and different ways that these games can get funded. Now, it makes a lot of sense to me that people trying to defend AAA gaming would always bring up the money because that's the one thing that those companies are the most interested in. If we're looking at some of the things that were leaked during the Xbox acquisition trials, we saw that The Last of Us Part 2 cost $220 million to make, while Horizon Forbidden West was budgeted around $212 million. Something else that was revealed during the CMA...
But also look at the bloat on some of those games. I'm not saying Last of Us 2, I'm not going to talk any shit about. That was an amazing fucking game. I mean, all around one of the best games I've ever played. Shares a lot of things with what makes Baldur's Gate 3 great too, in terms of its really narrative driven, brilliant writing team, brilliant art team, a lot behind all that. And obviously that's why HBO, I don't think Naughty Dog is at all upset about investing $220 million into that game. I'm sure they've not only made that back, but I'm sure their licensing deal to HBO is probably more than that alone. Probably more than that, plus the cost of Last of Us 1 and the prequel together. So, let's say those all together cost $400 million or something. I bet you they got a $500 million or something for the licensing from HBO. Anyways, when we look at a game like Horizon Forbidden West that's $212 million. Look at the amount of bloat that's in that game. They hired, I forget the guy's name, but that incredible black actor who was on The Wire, and he was the lieutenant on The Wire who was so incredible. I can't remember his name. And he was also in John Wick as like the concierge guy. Wish I could think of his name right now, but he's an incredible actor and, a very recognizable face, an incredibly recognizable voice, and they paid for him and his likeness. Like, that's a huge amount of chunk of change right off the bat. There's no way he was, less than $500,000 just, plus residuals on his own. So, and I'm sure that's I'm shooting low, you know. So I can't. I when you've got that kind of bloat, my point is, in your budget for just voice acting and characters, you're not focusing enough around the gameplay and just delivering a good game. Whereas like Luca Galante, one guy who's unemployed, right, makes Vampire Survivors, just focuses on a game that's fun to play, and it's badass because it's a fucking game that's just fun to play. Like that's all he focused on. That's what the focus should be.
May trials over the Activision Blizzard acquisition, a publisher reported that development costs for AAA franchises range anywhere between $80 million to $350 million per title, and marketing costs can reach up to $310 million depending on the franchise. Now, if we take those massive marketing budgets that they're pumping into these AAA games and we cross-reference them with how much these CEOs of these AAA companies are getting paid for, there's a really clear picture that starts to get painted. When we're looking at CEOs like Bobby Kotick, who's getting $154 million a year, or Andrew Wilson from EA getting $3.7 million a year, or Strauss Zelnick getting $18.1 million a year.
Yeah.
We can see that across the board, regardless of the project, there is tons of money that is being reinvested into the wrong areas. And because of that, some of these games that should be absolute behemoths, that should set standards for the entire industry, just aren't getting what they need. And that's the whole deal, right? That's the problem, is the fact that we have all of these companies that are ran by business moguls rather than creatives.
Yep.
So the funding and the resources aren't going to the right places. They're not going into whether the game is fun. They're not going into whether the game is engaging or dense with content.
Yeah.
Making sure that it's not something that's piecemealed to us through DLC or add-ons or microtransactions.
Zero chance Bobby has played
the funding
Diablo
and the
4.
resources and the leadership isn't there for us to have complete games.
Yeah.
Of course, it doesn't make sense to these people that Sven Vinka doesn't take 30% of all of Larian's earnings so that he can ride around in a yacht and go to fancy parties. I want people to stop talking about funding and how much money it takes and all the resources it takes, and instead talk about leadership, because that's what the real difference maker is for Baldur's Gate 3 and many other great games like it. Because great leadership doesn't seem to exist in a lot of these AAA companies anymore.
Yeah.
They've all sold out. They don't care about making fun games. They care about making games that sell. And the worst part is they're the ones that have the reins on some of our most beloved franchises of all time.
Yeah.
You want to know where the money went for Larian Studios and Baldur's Gate 3? It went into voice acting.
Yeah, 100%.
For every single character that we have in the game.
Yeah, you can see where
every
they spent
single
the money.
NPC,
They
even if they have a
spent some
single
money.
one-liner, will say something to you, and it's well voice acted. Why? Because people don't want to read walls of text.
Not to mention, like, I've watched a couple of different streams of, like, you know, Quinn and a couple of different other streamers that I follow, just watching their Baldur's Gate 3 playthroughs. It's totally different. I mean, there are some basic, I'm out of Lae'zel, Gale, Asterion. So there are some core things that are still there, but your interactions and everything are so dependent on your choices that there were NPCs in completely, without giving any spoilers, in completely different states than when I ran into them, based on like rest schedules and things like that. So I mean, the game has a lot of incredible detail in implications of your choices and the way that you play and the way that shapes your particular gameplay. That's really difficult to account for, and it also means more budgeting for voice acting and for writing, because you have these different, again, decision tree branches that you have to fill out. And here's the key thing that I think a lot of people are not talking about, that goes between, games like Elden Ring, Halls of Torment, Vampire Survivors, and Baldur's Gate 3, the like a common tie through. These games have an exploratory option to them that you don't really have to complete, right? So like Vampire Survivors, you don't have to figure out how to beat death and how to, unlock the red mask of death and go into these different characters and all this different, right? You don't have to. It tells you level cleared before that, right? And like you could just think, okay, that's where my gameplay ends, and you would still have fun with it. But there's purposeful stuff that these games have put in that parts of the audience, sometimes significant parts of the audience, are not even going to access. The Light of Lathander would be another one in Baldur's Gate. Like, you don't have to at all access or play or mess around with any of that. You don't even have to go to the Githyanki Crest. You can completely surpass the Mountain Pass, I think, from what I heard. I went through the Mountain Pass because I just like to go everywhere. But I think you can completely surpass the Mountain Pass and go through the Underdark to get to the Shadow Curse lands. So there are ways in these games to make your gameplay completely and your playthrough completely unique. I mean, Elden Ring, how many people never fought Milena, I wanted to beat every boss and do everything and platinum the game. That's just, I'm a completionist. But so many people, didn't do that and had different ways of going through it. When I first watched a speedrun playthrough of that and of Baldur's Gate for that matter, it's like, it's not something that's interesting to me to speedrun, because I feel like then you're just missing out on so much, and it's just like, to me, it defeats the purpose. However, that being said, I can respect it, and I can respect the like creativity of it. I can respect the fact that the Baldur's Gate 3 run through in particular, like they completely cut out Act 3 in the speedrun, and that's possible to do. So like an entire third of the game that may have the juiciest content in particular can be missed and can be skipped. That's kind of a, like, when you think about it, that has become a trend. That's how video games used to be, first of all, and that was what was so fun about them, and so fun about developing a community around it, was that like you would figure out these secrets and this stuff. Like, I remember, I forget what it was for Halo, but you could unlock, I think it was like a third weapon or something, if you went and you had to like beat the game on every single difficulty, every level, you know what I mean, and like something stupid like 6 hours or something. Me and my cousin did it, and it was it took a lot of attempts and whatever. We spent just massive amounts of time playing the game, and it was like this kind of like vaunted secret that was like, is it real? You don't even know. There wasn't like YouTube and all this stuff, so it wasn't, or YouTube might have technically been a thing, but it wasn't popular, and there weren't all these resources where people were constantly posting. It was very like sparse on forums here and there where you'd see stuff like that, and you really had to go hunting, and people would give you hints. But it built up like oh, have you seen this? I've seen this. I've did this. And I think that's what's key, right, to the whole Souls franchise. And what was also fun about the Souls franchise, right, is that was the first time for me playing Elden Ring, seeing the little messages, right, and finding out in comical ways that it's not just kind-hearted messages that are like trying to lead you in a good direction. Sometimes people are trying to just like make you waste your time or send you flying off a cliff into your death, right? All sorts of good stuff, right? But it creates a community and creates this sense of exploration and like, oh, is there a secret lingering there? Because there's this lack of attachment that the devs have to pushing you through a specific gameplay path, right? Whereas like Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, trying to think any other RPGs, even the Fallout stuff, even the last couple of ones I've played, as much as Fallout was probably my biggest game, my favorite game for the longest time, favorite RPG, and Fallout 3 in particular I loved. But like New Vegas and all this stuff, the problem is they're really trying to push you, And to be fair to Bethesda, I should say they're the lesser so of all of these. Assassin's Creed and Far Cry, the Activision Ubisoft kind of family of stuff, is by far the worst. And I'm sure I'm missing something else, but like when you're forced into a gameplay path that is basically the same as everyone else's, it's very boring, right? There's nothing that you're going to say that's like unique to your friend that you're going to describe that's going to be like this weird way you overcame some solution. The fun thing about Baldur's Gate 3 right now is like, right, I'm going in to try and fight Gortash after this, right? And like, I know that the way that I've fought him that's been unsuccessful, like a lot of it has to do with like my positioning and things. So I'm going to use crates to build a little area where I can stand properly and get the best vantage point. And like being able to build and set up an attack area like that is immersive and super interesting and makes it a unique potential way to go about it, right? Like the other day when I threw, you know, a little like mini nuke bag with a backpack full of shit and just like, you know, blew up a bunch of creatures and made a fight that should have been really, really difficult to overcome, something that was super quick and easy. That's not like, that doesn't seem like it has to be an expectation of the dev. It's just they gave you the tools where it's like, oh, somebody could do that if they wanted to. And so you get a lot of these wild clips of people doing crazy shit and finding different interesting ways to, you know, overcome these challenges. That's a fun game. And it sucks that we live in this community right now of gaming where it has become, and make no mistake about it, when you look at, you know, when you look at the financials of it, right? There's a reason you have these CEOs who are major CEOs of major other industries that are moving into gaming, especially at AAA studio level. A lot of these C-suite officers, A, don't have the creative background, like he's saying here, Legendary Drops is saying, and B, they're looking at things from the perspective that now video gaming has become one of the largest sectors financially in the world. I mean, it's a massive market. It's significantly bigger than the film industry now, right? And so when you're looking at that, they know there's big takeaways to be had, and there's big profit to be had. That's their only mindset, is how do we drive profit margins? How do we drive growth? How do we maximize this market, right? There's no real creative development there. And it's ironic because the way that they would have the most financial success would be to put just a little bit more in, you know, level on that creative side, where you have people like Miyazaki, right? I think almost nobody has shown this quietly and better than PlayStation with Kojima over the years, right? Like PlayStation has nurtured Kojima, allowed him to make his Metal Gear, you know, a franchise, which was incredible for PlayStation, right? And then now he's doing Death Stranding. Death Stranding 2 is going to be incredible. Death Stranding was an absolutely insane game. It's something that, like, again, I would highly recommend to anybody. I don't understand how he made a game about like delivering cargo that was so wildly interesting, but that's what's amazing about Kojima. That's what's incredible about a game maker like him, is that he can take something that to you seems like it shouldn't be fun, like it shouldn't make sense to be this interesting game, and you're not expecting it and you're confused by it even, and then you immerse yourself in it, and it all of a sudden clearly makes sense. That's what real genius looks like in this marketplace. And it's just a shame we're getting this push to where it's like, no, we know how much money's on the table and all we care about is let's take home the goods. And again, when you think about Diablo and you think about like, yeah, it's awful at the current state of it. But does Bobby care? Probably not, because when you look at it, they've brought in over $1 billion. They probably spent at most, let's say at most, they went on the high side of all that budgeting that he gave, which was like $300 million for the game, $350 million for the game cost, $310 million for the advertising. So let's say they spent 660 million, right? Which is obscene, but let's say they spent 660 million. They've still already cleared, almost 400 million in profit. And we're talking about it's less than a financial quarter from the release of the game. That's huge. That's a $400 million quarter from, one investment. That's good for your portfolio as a business. So they're not going to care at all. They're not incentivized to care at all because of the performance they've already had. And then Diablo Immortal, same thing, right? They're learning bad lessons.
Most consumers don't want to read walls of text, and Larian knew that. And what did they do?
I don't care about
Take
walls
the
of
text. Money,
just
put it in the
depends
places
on the
they know it needs to go to make sure that the game is successful and enjoyable. I want to highlight a couple user responses here because I feel like it adds more value to the conversation. One user says, you say this, but as an example, how much funding, how big of a team, and how long did it take to produce Diablo 4?
Yeah.
Don't try to act as if every AAA game doesn't have the same resources as Larian Studios, if not more. When these other AAA studios boast of record profits to their shareholders and packed bonuses for their executive teams.
Yep.
And he's absolutely right. Let me paint you a picture really quick. Back in May, Strauss Zelnick of Take-Two Interactive, the publisher behind Grand Theft Auto, boasted about their Q4 earnings on NBC, talking about all of the games that they have coming through the pipeline, the engagement that they have with microtransactions, and the future of AI in gaming. Months later, in August, he, along with the president...
Shouldn't Take-Two be called, Take-3 or Take-4 now? Because, right, how many times did they actually get you to pay for Grand Theft Auto 5? Wasn't it initially released on 3? And then quickly after that, released on 4? And then now it's been released on 5 again, but throughout all that, you were never given, if you purchased the last copy, you're never given the next gen one. So that's 3 times if you paid, that's Take-3, right? But then now I think they do the online thing only too, so you have to buy the online. So that's Take-4. I think they're Take-4. I don't think they're Take-2 anymore. I think they're Take-4. Plus Red Dead Redemption 2, right? Which I'm sure is what the thing he's about to talk about, because they're talking about their new, whatever money gains for this quarter, and they just announced that whole the remake that's really just a port to PlayStation 4 and Nintendo Switch or whatever it is, which is what the you ported to last gen, and that's a thing, and now that's just a release for more money.
President of Take-Two Interactive take a combined $70 million raise. And then to cap it all off, one of those games that they had in the pipeline, one of the ones everybody should be waiting to come out, is Red Dead Redemption on Nintendo Switch and PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
Not remastered, not a remake, not HD, no. Last gen release with no changes.
Nice.
Jez Corden, managing director for Windows Central, also jumped in, saying, not every game needs to be like this. Happier for smaller experiences, sure, but I'd rather see 6-year dev cycles from AAA publishers for games of this level of quality. They can fund it by reducing the yacht dividends and CEO pay, while boosting how much devs are paid.
Yeah.
And of course, all of this causes Sean to backpedal, saying clearly funding wasn't the right choice of words, replace that with budget, knowing that an IP with the legacy of this one is going to sell well. It allowed Larian the ability to create something exemplary, which is awesome. My opinion doesn't change, though.
Get the fuck out of here.
What?
Call of Duty is...
Replace funding with budget because you have this legacy IP.
Literally, Call of Duty's IP is so good, it caused a major FTC lawsuit with the idea of the Activision Blizzard being purchased by Microsoft. So, what the fuck are we talking about here? It was considered, by the courts, they were considering it and claiming it to be this one-of-a-kind IP. So what... I mean, sure, D&D, I love D&D, but get the fuck out of here with this argument. This is nonsense.
That is going to sell. So it's this golden ticket that you just pump a bunch of money into because people are going to buy it anyway. It's not like AAA studios don't have anything like that. They don't have any legacy IPs. They can do that too.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
For real.
Not to mention, Baldur's Gate 2 came out over 20 years ago. The target demographic for people that are purchasing video games themselves is anywhere between the ages of like 23 and 35. Most of those people weren't even old enough to play Baldur's Gate 1 or 2. Not saying that some of them haven't and some of them are fans of it, but the vast majority haven't even played the game. Hell, if you're just trying to talk about the IP or Wizards of the Coast and Dungeons and Dragons, I would guess to say that probably more than half, if not more than 80% of the players that bought Baldur's Gate are not fans of Dungeons and Dragons, have no idea about any of the ties to Baldur's Gate. Probably don't even know anything about Baldur's Gate itself either.
Might be a little high, but
they're
yeah,
just
it's reasonable.
Gamers. They're like RPGs. They probably haven't even played Divinity Original Sin 1 and 2. Well, there's probably a good amount of those people, but you get what I'm saying? It's just ridiculous. What are you doing? Who paid this guy? It's a PR agency, so it makes me think that these posts were actually paid for by somebody, and I think we can probably take a guess what companies would pay somebody to try to push the dialogue that we can't expect this from our AAA companies. Ooh, defend my AAA multi-billion-dollar company.
It's just so fucking wild.
Ridiculous. It's funny because I looked at their page and it actually has this like how to make a good social media post. This guy apparently needs to go and read that because he's making an ass of himself and his company. I'm sorry, but if you don't know anything about the industry, if you don't know anything about how the money in the industry works, if you don't know anything about Larian Studios, I probably wouldn't comment on it. Probably just stay quiet, hang out in the corner. Maybe go play Baldur's Gate, then come back and see how you feel about it afterwards.
Yeah. There's a novel fucking idea, right? Go play the game you're going to comment on. Go play it and see what it's about. Then come back and make your fucking comment. You know? What a novel fucking idea. That's how. Whoa. How, oh my God. It's like this guy has a brain or something.
It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me why people are always trying to downplay Baldur's Gate 3. And for what? Because the gamers just want good games? Yeah. We're not asking for Baldur's Gate 3 from every single studio that's out there. That's not what we're asking for. What we're asking for is good games that are complete, that aren't trying to piecemeal the game, that aren't trying to stuff us with microtransactions and bleed us for every single penny that we have. We're asking that you don't take these legacy IPs that we love, these games that we've loved for so long, and reduce them to a watery mess, a commercial success. That's not what we want. What we want is just good games.
Yeah.
We want to get the value for our dollar that we put in. We're sick of game companies looking to be able to extract as much value that they can squeeze out of us, and instead look to give us a valuable experience like Larian Studios. And that kind of mindset comes from the top. That comes from leadership. Like I said at the beginning of this video, this is a leadership thing, and it has nothing to do with anything else. I've seen people say, oh, it's lazy devs and things like that. No, because the thing is, you wouldn't have lazy devs if you have strong leadership. Larian Studios has strong leadership.
There we go.
They have a CEO that cares, one that plays video games, one that looks absolutely fantastic in armor, by the way. It's ridiculous.
It is.
It just doesn't make any sense to me why people are trying to defend this, why they're trying to downplay this game, and I'm sick of it. I really am. Anyway, that's all I got. I hope you guys enjoyed the video.
Good
if
video.
you did, subscribe to the channel. If not, that's cool too.
Good video. Am I subscribed? Yeah, good. We liked it. Okay. Yeah, good video by Legendary Drops. Mid-level streamer. Definitely go check him out. That's awesome. I'm gonna take a quick break, grab some lunch, be right back, and then we'll take on Gortash. camera. Alright. Here we go. Let's see if my planning for Gortash has been enough and we can take this fool down. Let's see, okay. So this door we know sucks. Let me just make sure we do have... Okay, we have everything prepared. We want to go down to this door. I mean, I suppose we could maybe try and just surpass. Nope. See, we can't just surpass. Ooh. It could maybe fly there. Huh. Alright, so anyhow. Oh, you know what I had thought? And let's see if we can do it, or if this is crazy at this point. Can we fly back up here? Okay, yeah, we can. So what I had thought was, or actually, I guess. No, hang on. Lots of moving around. So I'm trying to. I wanna go back to camp. Obviously, I can't do that right now. But if we can maybe fly here, hopefully we'll be able to fly back up. See, okay, cool. So flying here. Now this is also interesting because I think we could probably technically just surpass this and go to Mizora, which would be weird. I don't know. It's the whole thing. So let's go to camp and let's grab some more supplies because we want to make a big time explosion trap. Big time explosion trap. You know what I'm saying? So shit gonna blow up big. All right.
Never wanted the easy path.
What's in here? Alright, what else do we have to throw around? Any explodey stuff? Looking for explodey stuff. I feel like these could be, yeah, these could be good. Let's see. Those are good, actually. Let's see. Okay, what is this? Whoa, okay, that's interesting, but we're gonna pass on that. You're okay, Shy. Coagulated blood. Nothing that's looking really exciting here, unfortunately. So I think we might have gotten basically all of our... Where are those barrels? I could have sworn that we had a bunch of explosive barrels we'd sent back to camp. So that's disappointing. Well, we'll split this. One's gonna go to Will. The other's gonna go to Lae'zel. Definitely put this in the fire bag. I believe that's the fire bag, right? Yep. Put poison in the lightning bag. Okay, we can use that.
Ready for anything.
Okay. Send all that to camp. Send all that to camp. Just trying to get rid of shit we don't need. Oh, our little kitty
Eyes
there.
open, mouth shut.
I have to survive this.
Okay. Okay. I think we're looking pretty good there now. Okay, so if that's the case, man, am I disappointed that we don't have those explosive barrels, though. I'll tell you what. That's really disappointing. I just want to check this one more
Better take a
time.
peek. I'd better take a peek.
Let's move.
Don't have any of those explosive barrels. What happened to them? Are you just not allowed to, like, keep those types of things? I could understand that. Okay. Yeah, I'm not seeing them. Nothing definitely over here or there. Nope. So that's it. Alright, so we are gonna rest. We're gonna take the opportunity. We're gonna max prepare for our Gortash fight.
Here goes nothing.
Okay. Perfect. Okay.
Don't waste a step.
Now we will leave camp. Okay. So now, can we fly back up to where we were? I mean, we should be able to. Can we get the angle? Yep, there we go. Use that tack view. Okay. Alright, we're gonna F5 now. Everybody get into sneak mode. Okay. So now basically what is this big pedestal here?
What path lies before me?
Oh, that's interesting. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, see, okay. This is how we initially came up, that's right. I need to steal that. Okay. Send that to Lazel. Okay, let's...
Ready for anything. The mission has to come first.
Okay, we're gonna go ahead and steal this.
Worth grabbing.
Okay. Then we're gonna come up here.
Need to tread softly.
Okay, and right here. We're going to place one of these. I have her climb on this thing. Okay. And just pass that to Will. Then we're gonna have Will come, and Will's gonna put this down. Okay, not there. How about there? Can we do that? Is it possible to rotate it? Oh, there we go. Okay. Very good. Now, Will, you're gonna climb on there. Okay.
Keeping her.
Why can't you reach that?
Taking my cue.
Okay. Okay, Lazel, you climb on there. Okay, then essentially, I am gonna have Bakia
I can be subtle sometimes.
come down here.
Wonder if the gods are watching me.
And I wonder...
It's an endless red tape. Baldur's Gate deserves a true leader, not a council of simpering bureaucrats. That leader is Emperor Gortash.
So we're gonna try and use those as a means to set things off too. goal is generally going to be, let's make the environment extremely difficult on them. Okay. Okay, so we can't lift that up. Okay. What else can we put in the way? Okay, we can use some of these barrels. Okay, so let's see if we can use some of this. We're going full strategic for this one. Because we're way outmanned, outleveled. While we're out here, we want to push these in. Okay. Alright. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna come over here. We're gonna kind of block the way a little bit. Impede their movement, but what we're also gonna do is we're gonna place that right on top, right there. Okay. We're also gonna put this right here. Okay. And what I want to see if we can do is, can we open the door gently? Okay, we're gonna F5 again. Hang on, she's moaning, so let me see what's going on with this girl. 2 giant poo-poos this morning. That's wild, dude. Insane. Okay. Alright, here we go. Okay, so... Alright, I took care of that. Now what I'd like to do is, if possible, is there a way to... Yes. Let's come over here. Let's destroy this ladder.
Be quiet. Move with care. Don't waste a step.
Being very quiet. Okay, now we're also gonna destroy this ladder. So now there's no way for them to get up to us. Okay.
Should mind my step.
And then we're gonna save our last charge. Okay. And so now Shadowheart.
My faith protects me.
What we'd like you to do, if possible, is set things off with something that will anger people. Now that should have, I'm not sure how it didn't, but that should have set people in a rage. Okay. Okay, maybe we send Shadowheart down to get some attention. What do you mean you can't reach the destination? Okay, there we go. So this is a patriarch.
Gortash.
Suppose we technically don't care about them, right? But basically gonna be impossible. Wait, can we hit him without moving? Oh no, she's gotta move in there. I don't know if she's gonna get that far. I suppose we can
I
try.
know what to do.
Let us be resolved. May remain your end of Gortash as us Jews.
Oh no. This could be very, very bad. God.
Steel Watch, your time has come.
Oh God, more even.
A little help, please.
This is bad times. Yeah, I should have known that was a bad idea. Should have known that was a bad idea. I don't know if this is gonna even... It might be over before it started. Good, thank goodness we saved. Yeah, see, I'm immobilized now. really nothing I can do. Hang on. Yeah, go back here real quick. Oh, alright, alright. We can do this. Fucking Gortash, man. Okay. Got this shit nicely set up over here. Okay, let's come kill this ladder.
You've made a grave mistake. Very well.
Okay. Let's kill this ladder. No, 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 nope. Not what I meant to do, bro. I'm down here. Alright, kill it. Can you still open the door at a distance? Let's see. And see, that's kind of what I was hoping would happen. Oh no, not that though. Not that. See, that's when it's bad for me. Damn it. Damn it. Damn it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This is not... Okay. So, but that's the door. So what we can do, now I have an idea. Now I have an idea. I know I said that before, but that's all right. That's all right. This battle takes some strategy, guys. Okay. We're under leveled.
Here we go again.
And ridiculously outmanned. That being said,
Best be on my way.
this thing is gonna help us big time. Okay. We're not gonna make the same mistake this time.
Blood follows me everywhere.
Kill that. Come up here. Okay, why didn't you fly? Okay, are you wanting to lie to me about flying, or? Yeah. There we go. All right, now. Oh, it's 30. Can we blow up one of these? Come on, come on. Big money, big money. Okay, not so much big money. That's the big money. No one wants to give that any attention. What about you? How about you, Fist Bella? Bam. You even know what's happening? Oh, I know what's happening now. You decided to go to the bad door. Come on, people keep coming over here. Where's Gortash? Get Gortash over here. Where is Gortash? Okay, he's there. So we're gonna wait just a minute on trying to blow that up. We're going to. It's alright, that's alright. We'll go ahead and drink that. It gives us an extra level 4. Right? Then... Lae'zel's not even in the battle, so she has an opportunity. So let's go ahead and maybe Arrow of Darkness. Yeah, I think that's real solid. It's gonna make it tough for those guys.
No choice but to keep.
Come on, Gortash.
Steel Watch, your time has come.
Oh, doesn't that suck? I just dominated you with my mind. Damn, I was hoping Gortash would move closer to us. That's all right. While we have advantage, let's go ahead for Fist Bella. Why can't we? Oh, path is interrupted. Why is the path interrupted? Why is the path interrupted? I'm very confused on that. I don't understand. It's not as if we... Can I not throw something over there? What about just a moonbeam? Target is out of sight. Okay, I can't see them because of the darkness. Damn it. Darkness may have been a bad move. What about if we just silence the area? Alright. I mean, it's better than nothing.
Victor's path.
No, this whole path interrupted nonsense is frustrating. But let's go ahead and give you that. Can't hit anything. Do you have anything to throw? What about if we did a grease bottle? Let's do a grease bottle over there just in case. Yep, that actually had the exact effect we would want. And now they've got a fiery mess over there if they come through that door.
Victory awaits.
Boy, I wish Lae'zel had something that we could do that would be interesting. Yeah, of course. Yeah, I don't even know. There's no point. Come on, guys. I want them to really pack that corridor. That's the goal. Oh, I should have conjured an elemental with Will. That would have been a good move. Not sure why he went that way, but okay. He's doing the same thing. Okay. Seems like a lot of wasted movement. I could be wrong. They're all going this way. Don't get it, but okay. Look at how many enemies do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. And 18 on 5. And all these Steel Watch are level 11 and we're level 9, so vast majority of our enemies are 2 levels above us. understand what you mean. Why can't you see him? It's right there. Bro, it makes no sense. Okay. Am I just not aiming enough at the head? I don't understand the cannot reach. How are you out of sight? Damn it, this is not what I want right now. No. Why does it say cannot reach? Okay, yeah, that was good, see? That did some damage. Alright.
This city is mine!
Why didn't he run over here? Damn it.
Victory awaits.
Alright, let's see, Lae'zel. Actually, I'm gonna save the bonus action. Or action surge, rather. Sorry. We got a really nice place in the initiative on this one. God, I don't remember if these ones explode or not. This group over here, though, is maximally dumb. We know that. Oh, there's one. Hey, he's going in circles. There, yeah, that's a good way to go. For sure. That makes a lot of sense. Dash into nowhere? All right, let's see. Yeah, I mean, what else was I gonna do?
Impero. Impero.
Give ourselves all the ammo we need. Come on, move, bitch. Move. Yes, run in. Yes, run into the hallway. Okay. He's not quite as close as I'd like him to be, but that's all right. They kind of don't know what to do. How did that not blow up? Okay. Whatever. Really want to find out that he blows up.
I am death.
Okay. None of them know what to do. So we definitely know this successfully like breaks their brains. Their little AI brains. So that's good to know. God, I wish I knew a way to trigger the traps. Come on, guys. These motherfuckers. So slow. Come on, run further into the wall. It's a good call. Doing very well. Where is he going there? Ooh. Taking on the mage hand. Oh, accidentally blow it up, man. Ooh. You did hit me. Hit. Okay. Damn, Will got hit pretty good there. Okay, now I feel like it's time. How can that not be reached? That seems like utter insanity. Oh, my crate has been broken. I just noticed that, huh? That sucks. Alright, how many turns is that active for? 10 turns? I'm gonna do that because anyone that comes through that door is gonna be hit. Perfect. Okay, he's in like the perfect position. Come on. No! Why do you have to run? Oh, shit. Why aren't you getting... Yes, there, he's getting hit by our insect plague. Okay. Okay. Should set it up. Go ahead. Our allies could use a heal. Okay.
This is my time.
Now Will. Very nice, buddy. Very nice.
I will ascend.
Oh, we know you will. Come on. Come on. Okay. That's wild. I mean, he just jumped straight through a wall for sure.
Impero. Impero.
That sucked.
Fetid rat! You will not take this city!
I don't understand quite why he was attacking that guy. That was interesting to me, but I didn't understand it.
Nothing will stand in my way. This is my time.
Victory awaits.
Don't know how I feel about this one. Don't know how we're gonna do. This doesn't look good. can tell you that. Fuck, that sucks. That was awesome.
I will ascend.
Alright, now we wait. We wait forever for our turn. It's the biggest slog of this battle. Is like, look at that. We've got like, what's that, 12, 14 turns before us.
This is
Yeah, you can say that again, Will. You're in deep shit. Not looking good. God, I hope these guys are the detonating kind. If they aren't, we're so beyond screwed.
Strike hard, strike fast.
Decent hit.
Time to strike.
Live and be. Oh man, wait again. already got up there. That's no good.
My wounds have too much to bear.
Oh man. I mean, that's basically it right there. With our Sork out of the match. Oof. Oh man.
Bleed for me.
Saw it hit.
Fury. I am death.
I think I gotta sit down and pen and paper D&D this one for a minute. Figure out how the fuck it's gonna go down. Because, I mean, we initially start out with like 18v5 and then I think they add an initial 3 enemies or something. So definitely over 20. And we're over leveled, or they're over leveled, so. We need something smarter. Yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and save us the time. I'm gonna load it. We're gonna have to figure this out. I'm gonna end a little bit early just so I can go and figure this out. Thank you guys for the views and for hopping on. I really appreciate it. We'll be back on at 8 o'clock tonight, and we're gonna finally fucking win this battle. I'm gonna figure out whatever it takes to get it done. So thanks again. Like and subscribe. Check out the new videos on YouTube. Put together a nice little playlist of some stuff, including some battles, and then also some highlights and clips on Twitch, which have like the whole Dragonborn Lae'zel love affair going on, so you can check that out. Catch you guys later at 8 o'clock.